Welcome everyone to our today's session. We're very excited to welcome you today. This is actually the first workshop this year from our new curriculum. We're very excited to kick off this curriculum with a mental health webinar today. So just a brief introduction. What is Voices? For those of you who haven't been to our previous events, so Voices, we've been founded in 2018. We're a part of the World Economic Forum's Global Shapers community and have been particularly initiated by the Cambridge and Dublin hub. This is also reflected in our team, which are, some of them are there today. Maybe you can all wave. So there's Zsofia and Juan and myself from the Cambridge hub. And yeah, Clodagh and Kaula from Dublin. And we're also super excited to welcome Fatima-Zahra as another facilitator for today's session. What is actually Voices? Why are we doing this? So our vision is to create an equal and diverse world where women are equally represented in public spaces. Our mission is to amplify voices of less represented women in the early stages of their career. What have we, or how are we trying to achieve that? So we're mainly trying that through providing knowledge transfer in very interactive workshop sessions. In the past, we've also done a wide range of panel sessions, but in the future, we'll focus on really giving you interactive and safe space here to gain some hands-on skills that will actually help you within your career. We're also curating a Voices LinkedIn community. So if you're interested, join us there. This is another space where we share resources with you and where you can also share insights among each other and support each other with professional matters. Yeah, we also try to curate some content. So as I already mentioned, interesting resources that might provide you some interesting insights and skills beyond our workshops. Yeah, thanks for being with us today. We're super excited. Just one more note before we start. We really encourage everyone, if you can, please put your video on just to make it more accessible and more personal atmosphere. So this is really a safe space. So don't be afraid if your flight is untidy. Mine definitely is. So I put that virtual background on. I think that's a good point to hand over to Zsofia and Fatima-Zahra, who will be the facilitators for today's session. Over to you, Zsofia.
Hi, everyone. It's very exciting to have you all here. And basically, we'll get started with just a bit of an introduction to mental health. And Fatima-Zahra is here today with us. We are very glad that you're here. She is also a global shaper and she's a psychologist. And she will get us started with some thoughts on mental health and how we can demystify that. And we'll go from there. The floor is yours, Fatima-Zahra.
Thank you, Zsofia. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you for the Voices team for having me today. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being with us. And I hope there isn't much background noise. I'm actually on a road trip currently, but still joining you. So yeah, let's get started with a poll on mental health. So it's going to be soon on your screens. And I really want you to pick the answers that speak to you. And we're not going to get to see the name, so I want it to be as honest as possible for us to understand kind of what is this group's attitude around mental health. So I'll give you maybe 1 to 2 minutes. All right, so we have answers coming in. All right, can I see some thumbs up for people who voted? All right, so I guess almost everybody did. Awesome, great. So we'll end the polling now. All right, so we can see here, having a mental health disorder is nothing to be ashamed of. And every single person goes through a mental health struggle at some point. So these are the two most popular answers. And then people with mental health disorders can get better, can live normal lives, and that curious stigma. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for responding. So before we move on, I have another question for you guys, which is, what is mental health according to you? So I want you to kind of just like drop whatever comes to mind when you think of mental health in the chat, so I could get to see kind of what you think of it before we dive into it. So you could use the chat to let me know. All right, so we have some answers coming in. Well-being. What else when you think of mental health in any way? Happiness, balance. Mental health to me is a kind of peace and stability of mood, feelings, mood, motivation, adaptability, stable life, continuum from severe disorder to high well-being, state of mind, a state of mind of people and how they approach different situations. Awesome, thank you so much for sharing that. So I'll be sharing with you how I see mental health. Can you all see the screen? Can I get some thumbs up? Yeah, okay, great. So mental health is, rather than just like a fixed state of being, is more of like a balance between the risk factors and protective factors. So the risk factors are the ones that makes us feel kind of more anxious, that may cause depression, may cause a wide range of disorders, as we may or may not know. And then the protective factors are the ones that provide the safe space for us, where we get to kind of interact with our emotions and everything that happens with our lives without it affecting negatively our lives and kind of making it come to a stop. So again, a quick round of using the chat. If you could tell me, what do you think are risk factors in your life, and what do you think are protective factors in your life? Maybe we could start with risk factors. What do you think risk factors are in your life? Kind of, you look now and at your life and you're like, I think this is a risk factor. Perfectionism, overworking, being overworked, COVID, unemployment, family issues, overthinking, and unable to say no, overthinking, pressure at work. So we see there's work coming up, unhelpful thinking pattern, trauma, work again, lack of self-care practices, work again, loneliness. Wow. Now let's move on to protective factors. I want you to kind of, again, look at your life and then see what are protective factors that you believe are really helping you to maintain a stable, kind of positive mental well-being and emotional well-being. What do you think could be some of the protective factors? Having a partner, therapy, family, friends, hobbies, sports, family. Yep, we see a lot of family and friends, supportive friendships, self-care, support network, exercise, having a routine. Great, you guys are awesome. Nature, stability, great. All right, I'll go back to sharing my screen. So yeah, all of the things that you said are very valid, and these are kind of like other risk factors. So when it comes to risk factors, family dysfunction, loneliness, being prone to addiction, also something that at least when I work with a lot of people, they're not really aware of this, is that when kind of we feel down, we're more prone to addiction, and not necessarily just substance addiction, but addiction to YouTube and Netflix. And I'm personally a bit guilty of that, but let's keep it a secret. and then like a racist environment as well. So all of these could be risk factors. And then for protective factors, some of the things that we're going to be learning today are protective factors, like the emotional skills that we're going to see. A lot of you in the chat mentioned family, supportive friendships, social networks. So this is all part of social support, which is really, really crucial to our mental health and well-being. Hobbies is really interesting. When I first found out about hobbies as a protective factor and looked into it, it's mainly because they provide this safe space where you get to explore the things that bring you joy without it having the stress of like the work and like deadlines and having to deliver certain results with expectations. It's basically just you doing your thing and having the time of your life. So hobbies are really, really important. And if you don't have hobbies, I really, really recommend you just explore your areas of interest and develop one. And then we have available and accessible resources. So, could be professional mental health, could be resources around well-being, either like articles or videos, just like explain what is happening to you at different times in your life. We have that like very available. For example, when we have a headache and we're like, okay, so I know how to describe that headache, and then I know exactly what I have to do, which is kind of part of what a lot of people know about. But when it comes to mental health, sadly, we don't really have that vocabulary and those resources. So that is something that we definitely need to work on. And this is something that we'll also be providing you with during the session today. And lastly, I want you to remember that you are more resilient than you think. And this is something that, when we're going through mental health struggle, we may think that there is no way out, but there are things within us that we could, work on and develop and enhance so that we could get rid of the struggle and just like have a better life ahead. So yeah, that's on my end about mental health, a quick introduction, and we'll go to Zsofia right now so that she could tell us more about today's topic, mental health at the workplace, and what we're going to be doing today.
Thanks so much, Fatima-Zahra, for this introduction. And I think this is also a perfect time for us to transition into why mental health at the workplace is so important. Most of us are women in the early stages of their career, so we thought that this is a topic, especially in the times of COVID-19, uncertainty and the pandemic, that we discuss. So I'm also going to share my screen with you. Please let me know if it works with thumbs up. Is it all fine? Can you see my screen now? Perfect. So mental health at the workplace has always been a crucial element of mental health and well-being and the tasks of psychologists. I am also coming from a psychology background, and as the pandemic started in March this year, I started to be involved in as a counselor in a counseling center in Hungary first, and then in the UK as well. And these experiences that I'm sharing here with you on the slides are coming from what we've seen in this counseling center. So how is mental health impacted at the workplace in a working environment when we are experiencing such uncertainty as COVID-19 is? And this is just to show to you how mental health and problems with mental well-being can really be broadly applicable to people all around the world. Basically, all of our clients of different ages have experienced problems with adjusting to remote work and to home office. Most of us have to work in environments at the moment that are somewhat uncertain, sometimes from home, sometimes from the office, and it's all changing rapidly. And because of this, all of our clients have been experiencing sleeping and eating habits changing. This means that some people go through problems with being able to fall asleep, wake up during the night many times, or in the morning they wake up without any motivation, without feeling refreshed and active. And they also see their eating habits changing. This means that maybe they are a lot more hungry and a lot more willing to eat chocolate or sweets, or they feel that they are not really hungry at all. They find it very hard to eat. So we see a lot of changes in sleeping and eating habits. This might be something that you've experienced as well during the pandemic. Mood swings is another very common symptom of the human reaction to such a crisis as we are living now. Sometimes feeling very positive, other times feeling very negative, and all this is changing very quickly, very rapidly, without really being able to control mood and being able to control emotions. Many people experience problems with motivation, not feeling motivated to get the work done, to get to join a Zoom meeting, for example. And overall, a lot of us have seen a change in our daily routine. And these questions, how are we going to structure our daily life and our work? So this is something, if you're studying, if you're working, you might have experienced something similar. And then finally, for many people, all these problems are triggered or accelerated by financial and socioeconomic uncertainty. This is something that, again, a lot of us have been experiencing since the pandemic started, and with the second wave of infections, it's only getting more complicated. So financial and socioeconomic factors have a long-lasting impact on our mental health. And just two more notes on this. Basically, the uncertainty, the inability to tell how the situation will evolve later on causes a lot of stress and anxiety to many people all around the world. And the fact that rules, lockdown measures are changing at a rapid pace, that's not helping us either. And what we've also seen in this counseling center is that if someone has already experienced mental health problems, those problems were triggered by the pandemic. So we had clients who we then had to refer to specialist services because of pre-existent problems that were only accelerated by the pandemic and by the factors that I've listed to you just above. So this, I hope, gives a bit of an introduction to you about workplace-related mental health. And with this, we'll go now to the second part of the webinar, which is one of the most important aspects of why we are here today. I hope you can still see my screen fine. And this is here for you to explain what is going to happen now. We're going to go to breakout rooms. We will have two parallel workshops happening. And these two workshops will be about two topics. The first breakout room will be about how to adjust to new routines using mood and motivation tracking. That will be facilitated by me. And the second breakout room, so number 2, is about scoping career perspectives using counseling. This will be facilitated by Fatima-Zahra. Very successful activity. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen with a Mural platform. And what we would like to encourage now is to share some best practices and share some experiences from your respective breakout rooms from either 1 or 2. And Fatima-Zahra and myself can help facilitate this. So anyone who feels comfortable sharing what is one thing that you learned, one thing that you would take away from these breakout rooms, that would be great. And I'll take a note of it on our Mural form. You can also share it in the chat. We'll watch out and then we can voice your thoughts. And also just one more note, now we are going to record again. So if you don't feel comfortable with being recorded, there's no need to speak up. Okay, so is there anyone who feels comfortable sharing? What is it that you learned? Was there something surprising, something new, or something you would still like to understand?
So I was in the first, oh, sorry, am I interrupting someone? Whoever it was, go ahead. Okay, so yeah, I was in the first breakout with Zsofia, and we were tracking motivation. It's something that's interesting to tap into, just as to how you were feeling at different parts of the day, how motivated you were feeling, how it was impacting your work. You know, do you remember what you ate? Did you take a break? Did you continue working late? And it's sometimes really hard to recall all of that, even just in a week, because you don't have the physical punctuations that you previously had where you were in different locations to associate the feelings with. So yeah, Zsofia just laid out a very useful tracker that we could do on a daily basis to look at how are we feeling throughout the day and are we taking sufficient time for ourselves.
Thanks very much. Anyone else who would like to share, either from group 1 or group 2?
I don't mind sharing. I was in the same group as Coda, so in group 1. I think something that we kind of covered was like after we did the tracker together, is that like there will be moments in your day where you have less motivation, and there will be moments in your week where you have less motivation. And that's okay, and it's just making it work for you. So it's either moving tasks around so you do tasks that maybe don't need too much brain power, or it's maybe putting in like your fun water cooler chat in an afternoon where you know like you might need a bit of a motivation boost. So it's just kind of making it work for you basically is the answer. Like, don't be hard on yourself because you're not motivated first thing Monday morning, because probably quite a lot of people aren't.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And maybe from group 2, can we hear some experiences from group 2?
Okay, maybe can I give my opinion? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Well, we were analyzing a bit how will be our other career path. And in my case, for me, it was very interesting because I found something that was very different to my personality. And I realized things that make me feel peaceful and calm. So it's things that I can integrate in my daily life and can bring me well-being. So for me, it was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Anyone else who would like to share from group 2? And also from group 1, if you have something that comes to your mind just now.
Hi, I was in group 2, and we were doing an exercise where we were trying to design our ideal life. And we would go ahead and imagine 6 different lives doing completely different things with no restrictions that exist in our current life. And from the 2 lives that we imagined during the exercise, I noticed that there are a lot of commonalities that are foundational and more connected to who you are right now, that you carry with you, even if the 2 lives that you imagine are completely different to each other and to who you are at the moment. And I think that those are the things that you value and that you need when you're designing the life that you want.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Anyone else who would like to share something? Thoughts, ideas, experiences, best practices?
I mentioned there in the chat, Zsofia, I just wanted to know whether anyone, we're all at home and there's the opportunity to multitask, but also that can be really detrimental. You're trying to do too much and then you're not effectively doing any one task. So there's a kind of false sense that you're doing a lot, but you're actually being overly productive and not giving any amount of time to complete a task. So we'd be interested whether to know people were more tempted to do that now and whether it's impacting how they get through their day and whether things are getting done.
Great question.
I did it I was guilty of doing it at the start of this meeting. I was trying to have my lunch while taking part in this. And I did that a lot for the first few months. I wouldn't take a break. I would just like eat at my desk while doing something, but actually I wasn't taking a proper lunch break and I wasn't fully concentrating on the task either. And something that I've done since maybe only a couple of weeks ago is I put my lunch break into my calendar as like I would a meeting. I block out my lunch break. It's literally in there, 1:30 to 2:30. Every day it's private events and no one needs to like know that it's just my lunch break. And it means that like nothing is booked in for then. And it means I have that hour to like step away. I mean, even if I want to watch Netflix, that's fine. I don't need to step away, but at least I have that hour and I'm not trying to do work while I'm eating.
And are you keeping to it?
I am. I mean, today I didn't because I had some other things because I have things on Friday morning, but Monday to Thursday I did. No one can get me in that hour. It's great.
I find that just physically moving to the space that you associate with food, even just going to the kitchen and sitting at a table, just being very cognizant about what you're doing as opposed to taking it into different rooms that are not normally associated with those activities. So just be very clean cut about it helps, but it's a good idea to schedule things in. Yeah, do that too.
Great.
We've got a comment in the chat from Leku. She said she felt comfortable with the exercise in room 2 because it made her discover a hidden aspect of her life. She realized that she's a very sociable person who loves when everyone around her is happy.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Naku.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much for, yeah, go ahead.
I just thought of something that I came across today on Instagram, and I think it might be relevant, so I'm just going to share it. I know we've had a couple of people talk about kind of values and like the things that mean the most to you, and actually like it might not be what you think it is. And I saw this Instagram post, and it was basically talking about kind of career, when you make career choices, when you decide where to work, who to work for, how long to work for somewhere. Like it was just saying, don't focus too much on the company or the people or like the brand, like try and focus on like the purpose and the morals and the values, because what you'll find is that's what's going to keep you going and keep you motivated, like what that organization stands for, and does that match with what you stand for, rather than just like how, you know, how great they look or how good their reputation is. So I just thought that was connected to what we were kind of talking about.
Thanks very much, Sarania, for sharing this. And with this, I'm mindful of the time. Our hour has just been up. So I would like to thank everyone for joining today. Thank you very much, Fatima-Zahra, for co-facilitating this workshop with us and with the Voices team. And there's just a few other things I wanted to briefly mention. As you know, the Voices curriculum, it's a recurrent event. So we'll have a workshop on every last Friday of the month at the same time, 1 p.m. UK time. The next workshop in November will be about entrepreneurship skills. And it's going to be mainly Juan, who you can see on the call today, and another team member, Pahini, who will be facilitating this with the Global Shapers Yokohama Hub. So it's a very exciting event coming up. We hope that we'll see a lot of you there. And also we have a feedback survey that I think Juan has already shared on the chat. We would very much appreciate your feedback. In one of the questions is about what other topics you would be interested in learning about, soft skills, things that would interest you. So please go ahead, feel free to share anything you would like to share with us. After the event, we'll soon follow up with an email with the templates, for example, that we were using for the workshops. So you can also have a look at what happened in the other breakout room that you didn't get to attend. And we will also share some additional resources if you're interested in further reading or learning about mental health at the workplace, or to learn about best practices. You will have some more materials in there. And also our team members just shared the social media accounts of Voices. So please like our pages, follow us, join the LinkedIn community. We would be excited to have you in there. And thank you very much for the team as well for helping and contributing. And with that, have a great Friday and weekend, all of you.